Let's talk now, though, to Dame Alison Peacock, because she's the Chief Executive of the Chartered College of Teaching. And there's several problems with Ofsted. Ofsted is a reign of terror, is a phrase that I never thought I would ever hear. But Dame Alison, perhaps you can explain to me why that is, in fact, a relevant thing to say. Very good morning to you. Welcome to Morning Glory.
Good morning, Mike. So I think things have changed quite a lot since I made that quote about Ofsted being a reign of terror. Feelings got very heightened, and you will know about, obviously, the suicide of Perry and so on. There's been a change of Chief Inspector, and Sir Martin Oliver has arrived at the head of Ofsted, arrived in January. He is taking the time to listen. He is taking the time to visit and meet with lots of teachers and head teachers. And although there's a lot that needs to change, it feels as if the culture at Ofsted is shifting. Right. And that's a very necessary shift, because we know that the teaching profession, and certainly the Chartered College of Teaching, is all about building that professional expertise. We want to be accountable. We want to be judged, and we want to make sure that we're in the best possible position to deliver the best possible results for our children. But we want to do it in a fair manner and a proportionate manner.
Yes.
And
because there was a sense, wasn't there, with Ofsted, and they have now apologised fully, I think, for the role they played in Ruth Perry's suicide, promised a review. But there has been a sense, hasn't there, that they're not really there for the children, that they're more there to kind of correct what they see as mistakes made by the adults, which is not really the point, is it?
No, I mean, the whole point needs to be about making our schools the best they can be for all our children everywhere. And I think you wouldn't find a teacher that would disagree with that. Right. What goes wrong, I think, is that when we have frameworks, as we did under the previous Chief Inspector, that are delivered to the letter, if you like, and that can mean that judgments are flawed. So, for example, I was in a school just earlier this week, an excellent school. They'd been judged to be good in a very recent Ofsted inspection. But this was under the previous regime, and they were found wanting. They were not outstanding because they couldn't prove that they taught glaciation in one of the year groups. And that kind of rigidity is the kind of thing that the profession finds really difficult, because it means there's a different judgment depending on the team that you get, and depending on the way that the framework is interpreted, and that doesn't feel fair.
And one of the things that I've noticed, I mean, my kids are out of school now, but when they were in school, if an Ofsted inspection is a good one and suddenly the school gets a number one listing and a grading, suddenly then loads of people want to send their kids there, and suddenly then the school finds itself under more pressure, and sometimes it takes too many kids on, and then sometimes gets worse.
Well, yes, and the other thing is that potentially, depending on the label that you get for your school, it may mean that you get more money from government or less money. Right. So straight away, there are a lot of issues related to that single word judgment and that grading. And this morning, the Chief Inspector has come out and said that he's ready to review the issue around whether we should have single word judgments. Which I think is very welcome. He's running what he's calling the Big Listen, but there's also the alternative Big Listen, which is being run by former HMI senior Ofsted inspectors, highly respected in the system, who are saying we need to have a broader debate. And again, it seems as though Sir Martin Oliver is listening to that alternative approach, is now saying that all things are on the table, which I think is very welcome indeed.
Right. So do you think the days of people living in fear of an Ofsted inspection are likely to be consigned to the dustbin of history then?
Well, I hope so, because actually what happens is the energy goes in the wrong direction. Because while you've got leaders and colleagues who are terrified around Ofsted results, you're not spending the time that you could be spending focusing on the teaching and learning. Right. All of the energy, if you like, goes into proving that you're doing what you're doing instead of getting on and doing it. Yeah. And certainly at the Chartered College, we're very keen to build the best possible teachers that we can. And we know that they need to be the ones that are trusted to get on with the job. Our profession should be trusted, but needs to be accountable. And we're very happy with that. It's just making it more balanced.
Yeah, sure. But also you wouldn't want to do away with the inspections altogether, right? Because there was a survey published recently of which 57% of university and college union further education staff wanted to abolish them altogether.
No, we wouldn't want to abolish them altogether. We just want to shift the culture. And we want to make it a more collegiate culture. And there will need to be a tough edge. Right. There are schools, unfortunately, they're very much in the minority, but there are schools and colleges that are failing our children. And where that's the case, we believe they need support, really swift support, because those children and young people only get one chance. So, we do need to make sure that we keep the inspection system, but we need to make sure it's fairer.
Absolutely. Dame Alison, lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Dame Alison Peacock, the Chief Executive of the Chartered College of Teaching.